Good afternoon, David Atkins, target individual, backed by the grace of God. A quick word for y'all, and I got some good information on remote neural monitoring, a good article I found, and I got a word of advice. If you want to dig deep on the internet, say you type in Google remote neural monitoring. If you just go in the first thing that clicks up, you're not going to find good information. Good information comes from going down, scrolling up, and see more, see more, see more. The further down you go, the deeper the information gets. All right, I'm going to start with a quick word of God, and it's coming out of Jeremiah 32:27. Behold, I am the Lord, God, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? So nothing's too hard for God. You just have to give it to him and believe. And I don't think this targeting program is too hard for God either. And I have faith one day it'll stop. Anyway, that was a word for my believers. Now let's get in this remote neural monitoring. Many targets have been tactically murdered by mental care and intelligence using remote psyops. Myron May, Aaron Alexis, Tristan Van Der Vlis, she claimed to be targeted. These mental care employees especially claim to help their target, but their real goal is to interrogate and provoke continuously until the target gets a nervous breakdown. This is the moment they can try to reprogram the target into their likings. If that fails, they will try to kill the target by giving it an accident, putting another target against to kill either to induce suicide. This mass control and depopulation methods can be applied when a large group of people mark someone in society as out of the ordinary. When such Stasi's Zertasung programs are started by community police and infraguard groups. They abuse mind control tactics and this patent together with theater to label their target mental, fraud, crazy, danger to other or him or himself to get access to such psyops. Either two ways it goes, they want you to live shorter. There are many methods to remotely kill with the neural technologies. The most common methods they use over time by medical degradation, organ failure, physical and mental diseases, diseases induction by controlling, altering brain waves and inducing stress, depression and overthinking by auditory brain speech, recognition and overloading that one continues 24/7. The Hitler Stasi Zetterzung is played until the victim dies with remote neural monitoring combined with street theater and a false accusation such as a cybernetic hive mind using brain-computer interface, neurodecoders, and instructions while theatering can be with their Hitler hand. Well, they showed a picture of this person with a Hitler hand in the air, causing the heart to flutter in a way that monitoring is not picking up the attacks going on for years until the heart problems arrive or other organ failure with kidney and liver problems mostly. They even have one of my friends, she's got implants in her eyes, and they kept heating her eye with a laser, and she went blind. She had to have surgery. The doctor said, ask her, what have you been through your eye? And she said that was the most tricky surgery she ever had to do, and it was on my friend. The doctor told her that was the most tricky because it was done a different way. They blinded her. Awakened by pain to ears and chest with a heart entrapment into regular rapid flutter, sleep deprivation accomplishes the objective of memory loss during remote interrogations and induces hallucinations, which helps with the interrogation process. In behavior modification and programming, it is necessary too. Ideas to shake up the emotional state of the target because different information can be accessed to each state. Making the target feel despair and helplessness is the objective. Memory erasure is an important technique during interrogation. It is used in combination with sleep deprivation. Pain and fear of death are common tactics, which is why they target people's hearts and cardiovascular symptoms and other internal organs with slow kill and soft kill, silent assassination through amplified neurons. There are many techniques to induce extreme fear in the target. Fear of death is a crucial element of the CIA, DIA mind control technologies. If you get over the fear of death, their technology is minimized. All they have left is torture. But some people, like me, are in a program where they want to kidnap you and do other stuff to you. Remember, many of the targets of torture die from the physical effects of trauma. It is torture to death. Victims die premature death from physical effects of trauma to their internal organs. And yes, there have been targets that have been murdered, and I can show you people. Lynette Castle's one of them, and they do get kidnapped. It's rare, but it happens. In no-touch directed energy torture, the target is driven from their friends and family using different techniques in order to isolate them so that the electronic mind control has more effect on their psyche. Part of the method includes slander in the community based on deception and manipulation, which include lies and manufactured evidence, which is quite easy to achieve with someone who has been tortured near incoherency, functional disorientation. With this technology, convince the neighbors that the victim is a drug dealer, rapist, terrorist, child molester, etc. And it works. These people believe it without even investigating it. They'll create a fake file that looks real and convince the neighbor, look, he got charges. Man, that stuff ain't even real. It's fake. It's manufactured. Target individuals, for the most part, end up in poverty and paranoid about doctors and other people from false correlations that are purposely induced into their lives. Isolation is also a form of sensory deprivation, which is why they target people in different places, and some even in the church. Days and weeks begin to lose their meaning, no support network, etc. In no-touch torture and behavior modification, they might try to make an atheist believe in God, or vice versa. It's just a mechanism. And they try to alter belief systems for control and experimentation. Verbal breakdown with V2K, synthetic telepathy, and street theater and cyber theater is crucially important during the interrogations and torture. They must capture the attention, active memory, of the victim at regular intervals or their technology fails. They must constantly provoke you to keep talking, listening, watching in order for their technology to work properly. The victim must play the game. Repetition is an important neuro-linguistic program interrogation tactic to influence the target's mind. Chatterbots, artificial intelligence special language software program, automate much of the repetition so that the interrogators, hive mind teams, don't drive themselves crazy during the neuro-linguistic torture and programming phases. Repetition as torture. In no-touch torture, direct energy torture, the target's brain is forced to release dopamines, which cause pupil dilation, increases paranoia, and other terrible effects. Anything that involves maximum pain is the objective. No-touch directed energy tortures can be done wirelessly, remote into the human mind. All forms of sickness can be mimicked without any real illness behind the suffering. All suffering can be entrained into the minds of no-touch torture subjects. Disorient and confuse the target, use them for purposes, then dispose of them any way possible. One can only surmise what dispose means: prison, suicide, kidnappings, or perhaps a mental hospital. Coercing, torturing people to suicide is very common. Both tactics and physical or no-touch torture involves plausible and deniability and indirection, etc. The psychological and perceived physical pain is only half the story with no-touch torture. It also involves a set of scripts, mind games if you will, to walk the target to murder and suicide, or set up and trapped into prison or mental institution. This is called hypergame theory. It is used in war games to determine how to control your enemies and targets. They force their victims to commit suicide by the remote neural monitoring supercomputer, temporarily overpowering their motivational impulses. It's called omega programming. Omega programming is suicide programming, and innocent men and women and children are being tortured and murdered each day for the purpose of training, research, and development in mind control technologies. These perps are using a fabricated or falsified stream to interfere with your memory and thought process. Once you become dependent, you believe their impulse injections are your own on the symptoms output, or they believe your responses to it are consistent. They will begin to fabricate subconscious responses which they will pretend are indicators of honesty, dishonesty, positive recognition, anxiety, etc. And they will use these impulse injections to convince you that the fabricated responses are your own. If you are unaware of this constant mental manipulation, the system will begin to shape your thoughts. Mind control technologies are a weapon system designed to turn a mind control victim into a weapon who will inflict destruction on others who are self-destruct. This is how they create these shooters or forced suicide victims. Any set of brainwaves can be remotely captured and held and virtually replayed by the CIA mind control victim's brain. The remote neural monitoring supercomputer remotely captures the motivational impulses of despair, grief, rage, lust, remorse, etc., and verifies those emotional responses responses by locking in onto the emotional state of the victim and constantly provoking the victim in the same set of brainwaves until it can determine a coherent pattern of thought for all 7 vectors of the victim's emotional state. The RMN supercomputer uses physical and psychological trauma to map out and reverse engineer the victim's human soul, will, intellect, and emotion to achieve direct behavioral control over the victim. The RMN supercomputer uses a fabricated, falsified, bidirectional stream of electromagnetic low-frequency waves, microwave targeting the cerebral cortex of the brain. Using gang stalking, gaslighting, directed energy weapons, sleep deprivation, torture, the RMN system forces the victim into a series of emotional responses each day as the victim tries to overcome the physical and psychological trauma trying to function and survive. The RMN supercomputer then remotely captures all those emotional synaptic responses from the victim and downloads each response back into its database at the speed of light as energy travels at the speed of light in order to build a cognitive model or copycat parallel twin personality of a victim's whole human soul, will, intellect, emotion in order to achieve direct behavioral control over the victim. A computer multiplexer routes the signal containing a hidden carrier frequency within the stream of electromagnetic low-frequency waves that are specifically tuned to the brain signature of the victim to one of 3 platforms, meaning a tire satellite or a mobile platform. The tire satellite or mobile platform then relays the signal to the digital receiver, similar to how cell phone technology is deployed. The digital receiver is then tracked and pinpointed in real time, just like a cell phone, except with mind control. The digital receiver is not a phone, it's a human brain. So that's some good information. And I hope everybody's having a good weekend. God bless all targeted individuals and non-targets. Man, we gotta get this word out, expose it, start telling people about remote neural monitoring. Anyway, God bless y'all. Hope y'all have a good day. I'll have another video either tomorrow, if not tomorrow or Tuesday for sure.